Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Patriot Radio News Hour. It's Thursday, April 9th, 2020, the year of our Lord, and this show is brought to you by the Patriot Trading Group. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Patriot Trading Group works hard. We get the physical gold, silver out to the peoples, our captive audience, our fellow COVID listeners. And you guys hang on to them and hope you don't need them. But I got to tell you, I got a feeling you're going to need them. So 1-800-951-0592 is the business line in here again. And you can head out All American Gold 24/7, 365, allamericangold.com, updated daily with pricing and news and views and things that you can while away the days while you're sequestered, stuck to a water pipe somewhere in the great frozen Northwest. But we're glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. I'm joined with the president of Patriot Trading Group and owner Joe Jaquint. Arlene's out front, and I'm in here. It's a great day to be alive. You know, every day above ground is we have to consider ourselves blessed. I think just about everybody now knows somebody afflicted with the coronavirus. But still, yet the numbers are, they're fairly small for the reaction of the country. There's so much going on about, do you open the country back up? I mean, you have to open it back up. But do you wait until Bill Gates sequester and make sure, there's no cases? Or do you do the right thing? The right thing is, to get people moving. And people are just going to have to be smart. So the days of masks, as I've called, are coming. And I think they're here to stay. My wife says, we're basically turned into an Arab country. The women are wearing burqas. It's just going to be a burqa is what's going to end up. They're going to be designers in fashion. I'm sure people are designing them. Of course, the capitalists will run advertising across, but it's a great thing for the ugly women. You can write available on your mask, and, nobody knows what's under there. So, Joe, how you doing? Good to see you.
What do I say to that?
I don't know, so what would you write on your mask? I want you people to think about that. So,
I'll tell you.
Carl's Jr.? You get a check for walking around? I'm telling you, it's coming. They don't miss anything.
Does it go by weight? Like the bigger you are, the bigger the billboard, the more you can charge?
Probably,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Three color masks or more. So, they're going to say everything. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's the tattoo of the Roaring '20s is whatever's on your mask. So
it's an incredible day.
It's coming.
The data out today was incredible. We had jobless claims, another 6.6 million. I've got bad news for you. It's going to be more of the same next week and the week after that. The central bank, with our Treasury Department, the bailout continues today, announcing a never-seen $2.3 trillion program. So the central bank's balance sheet, I think before it's done, could be $20 trillion, the size of the whole economy. Who knows? This one, unique. They're working with the Treasury on leverage. So the taxpayer is willing to backstop the first $195 billion worth of losses, because technically the central bank isn't supposed to buy stuff that they know they're going to lose money on, and obviously they already know. But don't worry, guys. If you were worried, Steve Mnuchin has let the Federal Reserve know, don't worry, we'll just get more. You keep losing money, we'll just keep putting more into it. I don't even know. The programs now, it's uncountable how many Federal Reserve programs are. This is unprecedented, and I think we're in a time now where the stock market goes up, gold goes up, the stock market goes down, gold goes up, the stock market does nothing, gold goes up. Wait a minute. What we're in.
Wait a minute. Let me go back 3 weeks and play my first return show. I told you that's why I was back. They can't stop it. There's no reason to stop it. Gold's a monetary metal. Everybody knows it. Now you've got the spot months. They show at $1,686 or something right now.
Right now they're so the London fix, if you will, 1688.
1688.
The June contract is 1740. There is an April contract, which you think would be the spot price. That's at $17.25.
Yeah, see, this doesn't make any sense. You got a cash market for instant delivery. kind of like oil, but the problem is there's no delivery. There's nobody delivering to the
They
COMEX.
can only deliver you a receipt.
This is the price at the COMEX, right? If you want a receipt. If you want actual metal, you have to be delivered in April. And April gold right now is $1,700 up
and
50.
$1,725
Up $50.
Yeah. Up. Oh well, actually, April's up
$60. Right now.
June is up $56, which is where all the rest of the contracts are trading.
This is the biggest spread I've ever seen.
I've never seen anything like this. Usually, if there's a spread at all, it's maybe $1.
So
maybe.
So they'll be using that as a bid, wholesale bid price. You know, if you want to bring gold to them, that's the price you're seeing. So you're not going to be able to start a car with it like RBOB gasoline. You're not going to be able to do anything with that number. So for all effective purposes, gold's rolled over $1,700.
Well, right now I'm going to make another call. So you know, and I've been telling you what's going to happen for the last several years now as we break certain points and certain key points. And we talked about the three big legs down from 2011 to 2013. We've already filled the last two legs. This is the first leg. The first leg down. Gold was $18.50, and the very next day it was down to $17.25. And this is the leg now we're getting ready to fill. Right now, I'm going to tell you in the next 30 to 45 days, and it could be less, gold's going to be right at new all-time highs if the same trend holds true to the first two legs that we've already covered.
If you're a chartist, there's your Japanese candlesticks. I'm a fundamentalist. Run for your lives. We'll be back after these messages. Tomorrow, KXXT Family Values Radio is closed. I think Joe's going to do a show. He told me I could have Good Friday off. I'm going to take it off. So, anyway, Brian with a Y, one of the indispensable people at the mothership at KHNC, 1360KHNC.com, says, you know, the retirement numbers that people carry in those ads, you can write that on the front of your...
What's your number?
Your burqa. So it'll be interesting. You better know there's going to be things written on these masks. It's going to be a fashion statement. It may be here forever. We may be the Arabs may have finally won. Everybody's going to wear masks. An entire generation. You know what I have to wonder? Will there ever be a Trump rally? And how are you going to be able to tell Trump supporters from Antifa if everybody has a mask on? I mean, it'd be hell on the cops, wouldn't it?
You're bringing up some really interesting things, how this is all going to work, and you know, recession. Listen, we're in a recession, and really we're in a depression. You can't sugarcoat it whatsoever. And all these bailouts and all these things, they're all great and wonderful. You know, Wall Street's going to feel good for a little bit. Next week, earnings season starts. It already said, Starbucks already came out and said, listen, just cut our numbers in half. Just cut them right in half, right across the board. We heard from McDonald's. McDonald's is like, traffic is falling off a cliff over here, right? And nobody wants to give guidance. We have no idea, you know, what type of PE ratios, if you want to believe the numbers today. Like the Dow's up 500 points because, listen, the printing press is wide freaking open, wide open.
If they ever get it out, nobody's gotten anything yet.
No, but it's the
$10,000 grant now says up to $10,000. It didn't say that a week ago, and nobody's got it. They tried to say the Arizona Republic Today business section. Well, now that the $10,000 up to $10,000 grant, now they're moving on to nobody got $10,000. Nobody got anything.
I'll give you our daily update. I got an email. From the bank just letting me know the same thing that they let me know for the last several days, which is nothing's happened. You're still at phase one. You know, the 7-step process. Yeah, I've moved nowhere. Of course, the banks are closed tomorrow through the weekend. By Monday, I'll be 8 days, and I'll have gone nowhere.
Amazing. Now, what you started the show with, the Federal Reserve, here's what I don't get. Maybe you people at home playing along are smarter than us, and maybe you get it. But the Federal Reserve announced that it's going to inject Joe said opening the show, the $2.3 trillion to prop up the American economy through a series of unprecedented emergency initiatives that will extend its reach into small and mid-sized businesses. Now, let me ask you, if they can just say, okay, here's $2.3 trillion, they didn't need Nancy Pelosi, They didn't need any of these people. They don't need anything, okay? They can actually, what this is, and this is the Federal Reserve, which check your bank, check your currency if you have it in your pocket. Most of you under 30 don't have any, but it says Federal Reserve note on it. And they're the banks.
And it's all leveraged through the Treasury Department.
Well, explain to me why they even bother to have the Senate do it. Why?
Well, this is why they're doing it this way, to get rid of that. Today, Mitch McConnell, let's just change the number on that small business bail. That the one that
$600 billion.
Right. Just let's add another 250 to it. Nothing else. Let's do that, and let's do it right now. The Democrats said no way.
No, they wanted to add pork to it.
Yeah, they want another. They want to make it $1 trillion bill.
So now the Fed's going to offer $500 billion more in loans to states and municipalities. Now, what this is. We've been doing the stories, and I did them years ago, about the government pension plans, and then you look at the budgets for cities. These are tax-free municipal bonds, quote-unquote tax-free, which, during the Great Depression wiped out It wiped out just the wealthiest people. This is why you had mass suicides, because they invested in the cities, and the bonds, the cities never default. Well, they can't pay. When you looked at their payroll, when you looked at their budgets, where more of their payroll money was going to retired public pension union employees. In California, we did a story. They hate the firemen and they hate the cops because the retired cops and firemen have bankrupted the town.
And I want you all to know something. Okay, these are loans for new money. Okay, this isn't bailing out your pension. So if you thought, they're going to... No, that's not what they're going to do. What they're going to do is allow for these municipalities to borrow more money that they already don't have, not really dealing with all the pensioners. Pick your state. Whatever state or city you get your pension fund, you're getting a haircut. I guarantee it.
Well,
I guarantee it.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. If you even have a job, who knows? They're figured out how many non-essential businesses there are in this society, and they're figuring it out quick. So, but anyway, they're going to this $500 billion in loans to states and municipalities through the purchase of municipal bonds. Why is the Federal Reserve buying municipal bonds? This has never happened before.
Let me tell you why.
This has never happened before, ever, in the history of money.
The banks are refusing to loan money
to Scottsdale
without and don't forget.
I'm not laughing.
No, not just to Scottsdale, not just to Arizona, not just to Colorado, to any business. Any business.
They had
outside of the megas. Any business under 10,000 employees.
You don't get anything?
Morgan Chase last night said, we will not lend not a single nickel unless the government and the Federal Reserve guarantees it.
Well, they only want the big business. Yeah, so that's it. Well, here we may get to minimum order $50,000. I don't know.
It may be coming.
Who knows? We were at 5,000 in 2008 because the line was out the door. We have not had panic in the metals markets yet. So probably when we roll over $2,000, say, next week or so, that, these $100 days, $50, $60, $70 days are all normal. And why? I told you. Did I tell you economic Armageddon's coming? No, I'm telling you the opposite. I'm telling you they're going to throw money everywhere. And then you understand that a guy wanted us to explain hyperinflation. And they wrote a book about it. Harry Figge, I don't know if you can find it. He was president of Rawlings Sporting Goods. He wrote the book Bankruptcy 1995 about the debt hockey stick, where you hold your finger up, look at a chart. He was right. And then he wrote a book, was more like a paperback, How to Run a Business in a Hyperinflated Society, or Hyperinflated Economy. It's very obscure. I've only seen one copy in my life, but it was third world countries. And he talks about grocery stores. So if you're a grocery store and you sell a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread for $5, and I'm not talking supply and demand. Granted that's an issue today, but what I'm talking about is trying to go on the open market and replace them.
Right.
So
you sold it for $5.
You
go to reorder.
Tonight you reorder, it's $8. You're like, oh man,
got to raise the price.
I just lost $3. Right. Replacing this. So okay, well I'll get ahead of it. All right, $12. So you sell it for $15. You get out there, you go to reorder. Now it's $20. And you're like, what? I lost $5 more? You keep going at this, you keep going, and this is how, until it just starts taking big leaps and bounds, and you realize you can't stay in business. Just every time you go to reorder, your profit margin is gone. So this is where they say, well, this is why hard assets were, why our society wanted, our forefathers wanted our money to be gold and silver, and why, gold $half or silver $half, quarters and dimes. So after a while, you'd say, well, silver's going up $7 a day. If I took a silver $half, and you figure out the silver content, and you take the price, and you put it on a grease board, and you go, okay, I'll take $1.50 in silver $half for a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread. $1.50 face. Because the silver content covers the $45 or whatever it is. So the next day you go to order, sure enough, now it's $70 for a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread, but yet that silver content is now worth $80. So, and this is why this happens. Is it a bartering system? Well, technically, no. According to Article 1, Section 10, this is how our monetary supply is supposed to be, but those are long gone. You have to be your own Federal Reserve. This is why you want to protect yourself and your family with something that will allow you to survive in a hyperinflated or eventually a collapsed monetary society. And I think we're going to witness the final cycle. The money isn't real. The feds have finally figured out to get the liberals out of the way. Just get them out of the way. Now, the problem is the feds are the banks. So the banks are in between. You got Wall Street running. Nobody's panicked. They're just going to make money on the whole thing.
Listen, the whole thing, the Federal Reserve has a playbook. If you go back, make no mistakes, we're in another Great Depression, period. The unemployment rate, we just got to catch up here. The unemployment rate's 30%. Just letting you know, we are in another Great Depression. Remember the last time all these central bankers, especially the ones of what I'll say the modern era from Greenspan on, the mistake of the Great Depression was we didn't print enough money, right? Because they had what, Eric, in the Great Depression? Deflation.
Right. Yeah, that sucked.
And that was horrid. So now they're going the other way.
I assure you.
It is going to be incredible. It's going to be hyperinflation like we have never seen.
They also, the Fed, and their $2.3 trillion. Now there was no Nancy Pelosi. There's nobody.
Nope.
There's nobody going, well, we need to get this and we need to get that. This is just money. The Fed released it. So now they're backing the municipal bonds. So the cities.
The taxpayer is backing.
The taxpayer's backing.
We get hit with all the losses.
Technically, they're not really a taxpayer-funded deal, but that's different. The Fed also released details, get this, about their highly anticipated Main Street lending program. What's this? Well, it's aimed at small and mid-sized businesses that are struggling. Now, what the hell happened to the $2.5 trillion that they just signed last week?
Let me explain. This is what they consider small to mid-size. Anybody under 10,000 employees.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the one that you're talking about was 500 employees or less.
Oh, okay.
This is for 501 to 10,000.
Did you tell me last night that they already had on the PPA or whatever it is, paycheck loan, 675,000 applications?
Yes. Yeah. And nobody's getting it. By the way, the deficit, we broke $24 trillion already. We're already above $24 trillion. We're adding hundreds of billions of dollars to this thing almost on a weekly basis. It's going to be off the charts. It's incredible.
The central bank's also in this program to add another $600 billion in loans through its Main Street program with a $75 billion injection from the Treasury, which will offer 4-year loans to companies with fewer than 10,000 workers and of revenues of less than $2.5 billion. Dang, we don't make it.
We don't quite make it.
$2.5 billion. What do you do? Oh, I mow yards. Of course, $2.5 billion could be 10 loaves of bread when this turns into the Weimar Republic. So, or, and just pick any third world country because it's coming here, or Russia 3 times. Our country's highest priority must be to address the public health crisis, providing care for the ill and limiting the further spread of the virus, said Federal Reserve Board Chair Jerome Powell today. He's the one who announced this. He also said that the minute this is over, the economy is going to skyrocket.
It is not.
We'll see.
It's not. I'm going to tell you.
If they get the money out, it will.
It won't. It won't.
If you got people with bags full of money,
all of these businesses that are getting low have no revenue. Boeing doesn't make planes anymore. They're not making a single plane. They have no revenue.
They should go out of business, actually. But I've been saying that for years. They should.
Half of the small businesses that have closed will not reopen. I guarantee it.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do with all this commercial real estate? What happens then? So I guess the feds just take it over?
I don't want to be a negative Nancy on all of this, but I'm just going to read you the Costco headline today. The great sales that we had disappeared. Costco now saying March sales actually fell 2%.
Well, that's because everybody's buying toilet paper, paper towels, canned food, and leaving.
March sales fell 2%.
That is bad news, Nancy.
Right? And you think about people who think about, hey, Costco and Walmart, they're going to be the only retailers left.
Think about the Fed article of, here's $2.5 trillion. The U.S. Senate failed to pass the additional $250 billion in aid intended to help small businesses. And if you heard our radio station, they played Mitch McConnell earlier on Brian Kilmeade going, I just wanted to add $250 billion under the same terms.
Right.
And they said no. So the Fed says, all right, watch this. Do we need the Senate? Do we need the House? There's a lot of things we're going to question.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, presenting a daily conservative perspective since 1983, continuing the legacy of Phyllis Schlafly. And now, from the archives of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, here is Phyllis Schlafly.
Several state legislatures are considering resolutions to use a never-before-used power in our Constitution's Article 5 to petition Congress to call a new national convention to amend the U.S. Constitution. Most of these resolutions say they want the convention to consider only the one amendment that state is pushing. However, various state resolutions are supporting different amendments. Some specify that the one amendment to be considered must be the repeal amendment to allow states to repeal an act of Congress. Others want the one amendment to be debt limitation. Others want a balanced budget amendment. Some want to banish the Electoral College. Others want to abolish the 17th Amendment. And one proposal is for 10 amendments. You can be sure that many special interest groups will also be pushing their own agendas. You can bet that a convention will attract activists demanding union rights, gay rights, gun control, abortion rights, ERA, and D.C. statehood. Calling a convention to amend the U.S. Constitution would be a plunge into chaos because nobody can predict what the convention would actually do. Anyone who has ever attended a national political convention knows very well that the guy with the gavel exercises ruthless power. I've attended 15 Republican national conventions, plus many other national, state, and district political conventions, and I've seen every kind of high-handed tactic and rule broken with the bang of the gavel, including cutting off mics, recognizing only pre-chosen delegates, expelling duly elected delegates they don't want, cheating on credentials and rules, fixing the voting machines, and having big, strong thugs patrol the aisles to prevent delegates from getting out of their seats and conversing with other delegations. We don't want a new convention about the Constitution.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. Anyone pushing for a constitutional convention doesn't have a full appreciation for the brilliance and beauty of the original document ratified back in 1788. At phyllisschlafly.com, you'll find all kinds of reasons why a con could be a disaster for the American way of life. Check out phyllisschlafly.com and join us again next time for the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
You're listening to the Patriot Radio News Hour. We really appreciate you taking time out of your lives to allow us into it. We work hard around here, and I'm glad to be back. 3 weeks. Pretty much my ribs are recovered. I'm real tired, but sleeping good, and glad to be back working again. Thanks, Joe, and thanks for the people that support us. So far, it's been intense boredom followed by mass pandemonium. I mean, it just can get crazy, you know. Everything hits. They're holding Wall Street together. The markets will be closed on Good Friday. So, they're going to want to run through this as best they can. But come on, there's trillions and trillions. I mean, is the Fed at $10 trillion now with this announcement? What took hundreds and hundreds of years to acquire for debt is now literally going to be doubled in a matter of weeks. So the gold markets know it. Stocks and gold are up for the same reason. I hate being right all the time. I told you this is what was going to happen. Stocks and gold are up for the same reason. Read the headlines. They're both saying the same thing on stimulus. So you need to add legal lawful tender to your portfolio. These are available. These are my favorites. So we always like, the Hunt brothers, when they cornered silver for you old timers, they bought all the 90% currency bags, 90% silver currency bags. And here's how they work. This is the mathematics to it all. So all silver 1964 and older was 90% silver. Now, not all. The silver dollars went to 1935. So those are 90% silver as well. But if you take 1,000 silver dollars, you have $1,000 in currency.
Yeah.
If you
2,000 or silver dollars,
right?
Yeah,
you take 1,000 silver dollars. Now you got 720 grains of silver. You got 720 ounces. If it's uncirculated, they always add 5 ounces or deduct 5 ounces for attrition. So the silver dollars have huge premiums on them. So you have to go to the next one, which is half dollars. Again, to comprise $1,000 in currency, it now takes 2,000 50-cent pieces. Are you following me? They still have the exact same silver content as the silver dollars, but now you have half the size. So instead of 1,000 50-cent pieces, you have 2,000. But the 720 ounces of silver stays the same. Amazing how that worked. Now, if it was quarters, now obviously if you had 2,000 quarters, you wouldn't have $1,000, would you? You'd only have 500. So you have to have 4,000 quarters to comprise a 64 and older currency bag. But again, the silver, there it is, 720 ounces. But again, the bags, because of the attrition and wear and whatever's in them, they trade them for 715 ounces of silver. Now, if you want dimes, this is for Glenn Biddle, one of the owners at Patriot Trading Group. He teaches 8th grade. So now, Billy, in the corner, we see you there. If I had 10 cents, how many 10 centses would I have to have a thousand? $1,000. Well, that's 10,000 dimes. So anyway, no matter if you take a blowtorch to them, stick them in an oven, and melt them, the same amount of silver comes out: 1,000 silver dollars, 2,000 50-cent pieces, 4,000 quarters, or 10,000 dimes. Now, these bags are 57 pounds shipping weight for a full currency bag. So they're not light, but they are very incremental, and they had vanished for a while, but they are back on the market today. You can get a bag of $50, which I recommend, over the quarters and dimes, unless you want to just add every series. But the reason I like them, I like the $50. You get lots of Kennedys. You really get a mixture in there. Most likely you'll have maybe some Walkers or some Franklins, and usually there's a mixture of them in the.
Yeah, very rarely do you have a bag of all one kind. Usually, like
well,
you
the
said,
Kennedy was only 64.
Correct.
That was it.
Yeah.
So anything 63 and back would be a Franklin, a Walker. I mean, I've seen everything in these bags. So we can do those for $16,000 delivered, which is $22.30 some odd cents per ounce. But this is the premiums there we're at. So, I mean, if you want to own it and it's real, all right, you can look on, the New York Exchange and go, I wonder how much that receipt weighs. Or you can get real silver in U.S. legal, lawful, constitutional tender, currency bag, at $22 and change an ounce, $16,000 delivered. If you want to do it on a credit card, add $500 exchange there, and we'll get them out to you. I mean, these are available and ready for delivery. We found them.
You put it on a credit card, I'll have them shipped out on Monday.
Yeah, we found them, believe it or not, of all places, in Florida. So
maybe one of the old timers got the Corona down over there.
You never know. So they are available. So call, ask for a bag of $50, 90% silver, and get it added. I mean, silver is not a monetary metal. Technically it is because this is money, but gold is what they use to ensure, big ticket items, but they're not going to be able to stop any of this. I want someone to tell me why. Why, after looking at all of this, studying everything, that commodities are not going to run everything. Commodities, everything, through the roof.
If gold was $1,500 with a $4 trillion Federal Reserve balance sheet, what's it going to be at a $20,000 Federal Reserve balance sheet?
We're all going to look at the national debt number and laugh. Just
Listen.
laugh at it, going, oh, yeah?
I'm trying to do the math. It changes every day. Now I'm thinking by Christmas, we're going to be staring down at $30 trillion.
I know.
I mean, we started the year last Christmas. It just hit $23 trillion last Christmas.
Where are we at?
We're already over 24. And none of the money's come yet. Wait till the actual money from the SBA, if it actually starts coming out. They said that the IRS, they've sped up these checks because they know people are broke. They've seen the food lines. They sped up these checks. On Monday, these checks are supposed to be, the $1,200 checks are supposed to be hitting. The debt is we could have $25 trillion in the next 2 weeks.
You can do a half bag, too, I guess. You want to do halves?
Sure.
Split it in half.
We'll split it in half.
Plus $100.
Yeah, $8,100 on a half bag.
That's 25 pounds of silver. So here's one where, apparently the Saudi royal family has 150 cases of coronavirus. This is where having
the burqa didn't help.
This is where having a harem can really backfire on it. I mean, how do you social distance that? So you'd have to buy a Motel 6 and put them each in separate rooms. I don't know.
Polygamy's taking a shot on this one.
It's having a tough time. One of our listeners developed northern Arizona, and there is a lot of Mormon temples up there and Mormon settlements, and of course, their beliefs of multi-wives. And he told me, he's listening today in Mesa. He was one of the original developers of Safford. I love talking to him. I called him at New Year's and talked to him, and he said it was interesting. It's, some multiple spouses up there, and the one guy said in front of a half a dozen of his spouses, he goes, well, they can't all have a headache at the same time. And one of the gals said, oh, yes, we can. So just to lighten it up a little, I don't want any hate mail from anybody. I'm just telling you. Then I guess your entire harem can get sick at once, so be careful. Be careful out there. Anyway, God bless you guys. We'll be back. Patriot Radio News Hour. It's going to be my last show ever. Eric Cedarstrom. Oh, Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Eric Cedarstrom. Thanks for allowing us into your lives. We're live on 1010 AM, American or Family Values Radio, and then also 1360 KHNC, the American Freedom Network, the Roar of the Rockies up in Colorado, and then wherever you podcast this, we thank you. So the numbers are growing quite precipitously. How about the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom? I mean, he's doing a Schultz as well. I mean, what's with the World Health Organization? Trump doesn't. We owe him $123 million. He doesn't want to pay him. Marco Rubio wants him fired. I mean, and the guy should be. I mean, what's your job? If you run the World Health Organization, and you're got a world pandemic, and you can't pick this guy out in the lineup. Dr. Fauci and Blix are the ones that you get on TV.
Well, you know what's so funny is the last people to call it a pandemic was them.
Yeah.
Right? They should have been the first ones.
Right?
We shut down travel to China before they said to shut down travel to China. I mean, they missed the whole thing. They got one job. Right? This is you're the World Health Organization. You're supposed to tell everybody when something like this is going to happen, hey, you may want to take some precautions.
It's like the World Gold Council. They're out of England. They're the ones that we advised them to sell all their gold at $230 an ounce. Or, remember, J.D. Power recommends Toyota. J.D. Power recommends this. J.D. Power was owned by the Japanese.
Well, great gig. That was a great gig.
Great gig, J.D. Power. Yeah, well, they made up a nice sounding American. J.D. Power can't be Japanese, can he? So, I don't know. Anyway, It is nuts. How about this? Pennsylvania town. Now, here's a town that a guy can move to. Pennsylvania town considers becoming a sanctuary for illegals.
Sanctuary
for anti-corona illegals. I don't know. No, for gun owners. How about them apples? Officials in Montgomery Borough, Pennsylvania, say they consider implementing measures to protect gun owners. During a recent council meeting, officials unanimously agreed to draft a Second Amendment sanctuary policy, which they will review and vote on at a later date, according to the Williamsport Sun-Gazette. I read it in the Sun. It must be true. So, anyway, a Second Amendment sanctuary. Think about that. You could just go to sleep with your windows open, your wallet laying on the dash of your car.
You do know that every piece of legislation the Democrats are trying to get done, they try to throw in some form of gun confiscation in everything now.
Right. So I like that. You know, it is crazy. We are the Burqa Society. You know, maybe we should start a gun sanctuary at the town, north of town here, Baghdad. We got a Baghdad here.
We do.
So we take Baghdad. Everybody has to be packing and wear a burqa.
Listen, I think they're like a football power, too. They're like a 1A
they're little
or
high
2A
school. They're 8-man football.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Baghdad during Gulf War I took the sign down because people were driving up there throwing rocks through the windshield. They were having trouble.
It's not the same place.
You can't. There used to be a turn going to Kingman. It said Baghdad. It's not there anymore. So I don't know. Check the markets. Things are going. I'm watching that screen going
Gold's
nuts.
up 66 now. Depending where you look, 1730, 1746, 1695. You pick a number. Gold's up almost another dollar. Just crossed 1605 on gold here. Wall Street's up, still up just under 500 points. Unlimited spending. Backdrop by the American taxpayer. You can't get a better deal than that. The bailout's coming. Hyperinflation is coming. You know it's hard when I can't even tell you how many Fed programs we have now. I have no idea. I can't keep track. I don't know how big is the, we know $500 billion a week is what the Fed balance sheet has been growing. But I have no idea. There's no end to these programs. Like I said, I think, forget about $10 trillion. That's gone. I mean, we're way past that now. 15, 20 trillion. Could we see a Fed balance sheet that's bigger than the actual GDP of the country? And I'm telling you, I think it's more than possible. It's likely.
Well, again, they are everywhere. We don't know. Look at the airlines want $50 billion. What's interesting is they always point out that they spent $45 billion buying back their own stock.
But they only they wanted $50 billion a month ago.
Yeah, that was last month.
Scratch that number out. 50. That's not enough. That's not enough.
What day does everybody go back to work, and what terms? I mean,
the terms.
Everybody's going to wear masks. All right, that's a given. California, it's a law. Arizona always does what California does. So now the front page of the Arizona Republic shows all the people in their masks. So we're all going to wear masks. And now there's no more handshaking. This is perfect for the introverts and the people you can't stand. The cold fish handshake, where the guy barely, and he doesn't say anything to you. You just want to clock him, So this is wonderful for all the introverts and people. So no more shaking hands ever, which who knows how long this will last. Who knows how long? Is this America?
Where you got to yell at people because you got to stand so far away. Hey! Hey!
No more lip reading either. So the deaf, they're really in trouble.
They're in trouble.
That's over. So now, just think of the football coaches with masks on the sideline. They don't have to cover with their clipboard anymore when they talk to the quarterback.
I wonder, are the players going to wear masks? I truly don't know.
That's going to be a fashion accessory.
High school football will happen. I truly don't know. The fall sports, I don't know. I know college, it's big money. They're going to try, but I don't see you having people in the stands. I'm serious. This is what we're looking at.
Unless the word vaccine appears. That is a game changer, but they can't stop the money that's out. So hydrochloroquine, is that it?
Chloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah,
that's it.
with zinc.
With zinc. Is apparently the liberals hate it, but the conservatives love it. So if you can figure that one out, there's still a battle over that now because the president has mentioned hydroxychloroquine as the might actually be helping. Of course, what he says is if you have it and you're You have nowhere else to go than take it, and it has worked in cases, but the brain is very strong. So there's a New York City doctor that says we're treating the wrong disease. So we'll talk about that when we get back. Very interesting. And you can get $1,000 silver $50 on a credit card for $8,300 delivered. So that's not too bad. People are calling. If you're having trouble getting through, just wait. We'll get to you. Be back. Stay with us. Final segment, the blind leading the stupid here. Patriot Radio News Hour. If you would like to be a sponsor with us, I'll give you a personal live read for a very reasonable amount of money. 1-800-951-0592. This show is becoming quite popular again and being downloaded profusely. What's interesting, I was just telling Joe during the break that we've done almost an entire hour of radio, and we didn't even mention that the unemployment numbers were 6.6 million this morning.
For the second week in a row.
And that's not the top story.
Right. No,
that's
right.
how messed up everything is.
Continuing claims hit a new all-time record high in the country today as well. It's amazing. It really, really is. It's incredible what is happening in the world today, and we're in the midst of another Great Depression. This one, the central bank is going to do what they said should have been done the first time, which is we just got to print money into oblivion. Hyperinflation is here. It's going to happen. You're seeing it in the gold markets. We're seeing now, it's amazing. Today, right now, it's up $66, $67. And could be 100, could be 200 before the day's over. We don't know. It's
doesn't
amazing.
Matter. You're not going to be able to stop it. It's just going to run out of sight. You know it. I know it. This is it. I told you. I came back because this is the event that people have been preparing for. There's still a lot to go, a long way to go here. So I was talking about the doctor. A New York doctor says, well, he doesn't think they're treating the right. He says, I feel compelled to get the information out that the lung disease, as far as he can see, is not pneumonia and should not be treated as one. And here's the best example. The reason I read this is when I read the article, it says as if tens and thousands of people are on a plane at 30,000 feet and the cabin pressure is slowly being let out. And you're slowly being starved of oxygen. He says that's the effect that the COVID virus has on you. He says he doesn't know the final answer, but get this. He says, I'm quite sure that a ventilator is not it. So here you got GM just won ventilators. They're doing all these. What if the government goes to all this trouble and everything's a ventilator and it's not the answer? That's
they're talking about the pressure and more oxygen versus less oxygen and all that stuff. And
weird.
Well, you know what? Hey, we don't know, right?
Well, he says not to say we don't need ventilators, but it's not the only way at this time. That's the only way they can give oxygen to patients who need it. So that maybe they're on to something. Let's hope we get something. But the problem is the basic precipice of this is the common cold. Yeah. So you get a runny nose, you can't smell anything, you get a cough. All right, the only person besides Granny Clampett that's been able to cure it is nobody. So they got to cure the common cold. So once you get to that, everything's going to be fine. So. We have 2,000 U.S. $50. You can pick those up at $8 a piece, right? 16,000 delivered. Add 500 on a credit card. Cut it in half. Can we do $83.50? I guess delivered on a credit card. You can get 1,000 silver $50. These are all 90% silver. U.S. currency. Add them to your procurements. Very incremental. These are for day-to-day expenditures and purchases that will allow you to function in a hyperinflated economy when we get to that. And I don't know. I mean, it's not a matter of if. It's just a matter of when. You can't just spend, print, and expect the currency to retain purchasing power. So when it hits, it'll hit like a bolt of lightning. God bless everybody. I won't be back until after Easter. This show will play again on 10 a.m. tomorrow. But I think Joe's going to be live at the mothership at 1360khnc.com, the Roar of the Rockies. Stay tuned for more programming coming your way for the Coloradans. God bless everybody. We really appreciate it. Happy Easter. Hug your family extra tight.